Hello, my 7 deadly sins family and friends. Welcome back to another video. Now, my king video, P5 king, was pretty cool, but there was one massive issue. I had to use such high potential supports. And it's crazy that even with those high potential supports, I could barely get that 3-star. Now, I did promise that I would come back and show you a low potential clear. Now, I'm on an alt account and I really don't have very high potentials on units that we could really use. We've got a P4 Escanor, got a P4 Derieri, Daisy's only P4, Elizabeth P5, which is probably the best thing out of it all, you know. But it's only P5. Like P5 is like really the minimum you want, and like really you kind of want like at least P6, especially for these late ones. So like even Ghost is P4, so it's not even worth using him in my opinion. And then like King is P10, but I've already done King, so I didn't want to showcase King, right? So I could try and do it with King again, but we're trying to showcase low potentials. So I decided, after seeing my friend Ahay do it, he's another SEA creator that you might have seen. He tries to showcase low potential clears, but he does have like a P7 Elizabeth minimum, or at least P6, so he gets that extra crit chance and pierce. His Daisy's P7, and his Derieri is at least P5, so he's getting up there on those potentials where it's like kind of pushing away from free to play friendly, but it's still fantastic. I know he used Hauser, he showed multiple clears, but having that Elizabeth at least P6 to get that crit chance and pierce is like massive, especially for this. And then Derieri P5, this is huge as well. An extra 10% fire defense reduction is like, that's massive. It's more than you know, right? And if you have it even higher, you get a bit more HP boost, which is nice and stuff. But like other than that, like that P5 is really, really big. And then even for Daisy, even if you have a P5 Daisy, that's an extra 15% crit damage. If you're lucky enough to have P6, that's an extra 15% crit defense reduction on just the normal attack. So like, just having a little bit more potentials on all of these units really help. And then on our Escanor, even P5 reduces the fire resistance reduction by 20%. And on one of the site 7 Deadly Sins Origin app, so you have to take this with a little bit of grain of salt, but basically says on there, even though we're buffed, so we do deal more damage, that it still has a base of 20% elemental resistances. So this is going to negate that to help you do more damage. So even this, and then P6, even more damage, right? So you get a lot more damage just having an extra 1 or 2 potentials on all of these units. So quickly, let's have a look through what gear we're running. We're running a full trainer set because we know how powerful defense shatter is. We really do not care about the attack because you can't do anything, like the attack isn't scaling for his sword and shield, but the crit chance, crit damage, really nice, as well as the amount of defense that we're getting from all of 3 of these pieces. Plus 5 defense kind of works as well, but it would have been better of having actual full defense percent. And then we do have a crit damage ring. We unfortunately only have a level 2. If this is level 3, this would have 100% cooldown reduction, which is massive. And then the defense you get as well is even higher. We unfortunately only have ult move damage. If we had another damage skill like the normal skill one, or defense percent, that would help us as well. And it's only a 1-2-2, which is very mid, like literally mid. And then let's have a look at the other ones. Again, we've only got level 2, so we're missing out of 2% crit chance on this, and an extra 8% crit defense down. And then nothing crazy about this at all, really. If we go to a Derieri, the reason why I'm running this is to try and get as much damage from her as well, because we're obviously going to be using her ultimates with her. So just like squeeze out as much damage as possible, so I try to get as much attack on her as possible. I would never usually suggest having SSR weapons on these supports, but what can you do really? Obviously, we have a Blazing Grimoire, max for the level 7 for the first strike. I would have loved to have magic charge efficiency, but because I use this on other characters, I don't. Anyway, back to Derieri. Her armor, we're running just a 3-piece life crystal and a 2-piece hymn of regeneration for a bit more magic charge efficiency. But then we're using the spider boots and earrings to get as much debuff duration as possible. Again, we only got a level 2, so we're missing out on a bunch more damage and crit damage from this, like a lot. I think this is giving me like 40%, and this is like even higher. So yeah, we do have a bit of buff duration, but really she's not doing that many buffs. It's more so debuffs, so it would have been better to have this higher with a bit of debuff duration, but this is not too bad here, right? So again, only level 2. And then we move over to Elizabeth. We're of course running an untamed set so we can get that attack percent from back attacks, so there's a bit more healing efficiency from her. We're running a 2-piece to get more magic charge efficiency with a ring of magic charge efficiency. And then again, only a level 2. We're losing out on so much because we're only getting mid rolls of everything. A 121, so we get less healing efficiency. We were lucky enough to get healing efficiency, defense increase and debuff duration. This is actually a really good roll, but they're kind of like low percentage rolls. But yeah, we're losing out on 8% crit damage here, and then some all elemental resistance like 4% here. So there's a lot of stuff that could be improved on this, right? And then I think I covered everyone, right? I've done Daisy, done Elizabeth, done Derieri, and I've done Escanor. So I didn't show Escanor's weapon. I apologize for that. We're using a black flame, wing, sword, and shield. Now, I have done a video about using the Breath of Glory, which would still be a fantastic choice, but because this is like supposed to be like a speed run, you're very time limited. We want to try and be as bursty as possible, and that's why we want this crit damage. We did roll ultimate move damage, normal skill and special attack with crit chance. This is a pretty good roll, to be honest. I would have loved to have fire damage instead of the special attack, and then it would be in golden. Now, attack is kind of useless, so people might question, if I got more on the limit breaks, would it be worth it? Technically, yes, because if we ever do burst with him, we get a bit more crit chance, but in reality, I wouldn't say it's worth it. And then these 2 pieces really don't matter because we only care about defense. So yeah, and we've gone over this. So to look at Escanor's stats with no food or buffs, he has 37k defense. It would be much nicer if I had about 39k, but we have to deal with what we've got. The rest of his stats, he's got 40% crit chance. This is really low, and this is one of the main issues, and I'll come back to it in a second. With 136% crit damage, again, it's just not as high as I would have liked it to be. Really, I would have hoped it to be more around the 150 mark, but again, have to live with what we have. This is all kind of spread out. The tag skill is absolutely useless. I wish that was on ultimate move instead, but hey ho. And then of course we've got no fire damage, which is kind of rough. Now, the reason why having such low crit chance is like hurting us is because when we do crit, it's like really nice, and like it's definitely saying, oh, if I keep doing this damage, we're gonna get that 3 stars easily, without like super easy. But then when you don't crit, it's like you're hitting with a wet noodle and you do just so little damage. So I spent about 4 hours, I would say, trying this with the sword and shield, and I was able to get a 2-star, and I was about 30 seconds off, because you need 2 minutes and 30 seconds to get that 3-star. So getting like basically 3 minutes flat, we got the 2-star, which isn't bad. I'm pretty happy with that, if you think about it, because we basically have all P4 units, and this is like end game levels of bosses. If you don't know, like, even though Sector 8 says hard, Hendrickson only has 9 million HP. After that, it basically triples. So these have about 20, 22, 24 and whatnot. Twigo has just under 27 million health. That's like 2.9 times the health that Hendrickson does, and that is why these later stages are so hard for low potential to get that 3-star clear. So here's the run, enjoy, and maybe I can give you some tips again afterwards. So I just want to say, because my recording cut off at the start of what I did to begin with, basically what I did was I went in with Daisy, I auto-attacked, used her skills, I switched straight to Escanor to get that first tag, then I used his 2 skills, I then switched into Derieri and used her skills, and that's where we start off with her using her ultimate. So there we have it. We're able to get that 3-minute 2-star clear. Again, I'm pretty proud of that. We obviously try to get that double tag as much as possible with Escanor to get that defense shatter up as well. Obviously there were some risky times where I was low health, but obviously Elizabeth is very nice with that, as well as the shield. This also helps with the low potential, having that shield for that survivability. We'll try to keep up the buffs and debuffs as much as possible. But yeah, starting off with Daisy using her skill like basic attacking and using all her skills very, very quickly, and then switching to Escanor straight away gets that tag from the get-go, and then after you use his skills and you can switch out and get back to him. Then you can after ulting with Derieri and the ult with him and do your combos and whatnot. So if you need to re-watch it, maybe you can learn something from it. But yes, try and have Twigo within the area of Derieri's ultimate when you switch to Escanor to do his damage, especially with his ult, because then you're going to get that extra 30% damage boost from the ultimate, which is very helpful. But yes, this is going to be a hit or miss, really, depending on how lucky your crit chance is, as well as your potentials. If you have like basically one more potential on every single one, I think it's definitely possible to get that 3-star. But having basically all P4s and getting 2-star at this level, guys, come on, give me some props, right? Now, as for the food that I used, I only used this corn pottage or other 10% defense buffs with the food, but there's actually a few out there, or a couple out there, that can actually give more than that. So here it is. So protein mushroom stew. This gives 15% defense and a chance to inflict stun. I don't think a stun actually matters, but if you're wondering, it's basically any vegetable, and then there's any bug out there. You can even use butterflies and stuff, but there's so many green bugs. I would probably use a green bug because these are obviously rarer. And then any mushroom, literally any mushroom you have, and this gives you 15% defense and a bit of chance to inflict stun, but it's mainly that extra 5% defense that you want. So even if you use that, that'd probably save you probably an extra 10 seconds or so if you had that run. So you're only missing 20 seconds. Again, I'll reiterate, if you have a bit more potential in all of these, any of these guys or all of them, it's possible. Just it'll probably take you quite a few tries until you get that good run where you're critting more often, and then you can clear it. So if you enjoyed this, or if you found this helpful, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe and a comment. I really appreciate the support if you could do that for me. If you are unaware, I have an affiliate link for Loot Bar. This is a site where you can purchase items for the game for a cheaper price, like 20 to 30% cheaper. I've used it like since Merlin came out, and I've had no issues really, other than maybe setting up for the first time. It's a bit janky on the first setup, but when you have it, you're golden. So if you ever consider wanting to spend on the game and want to help me out as well, please consider using my affiliate link because it supports me as well. Anyway, again, I hope that you found this video useful. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and until my next one, cheerio.